Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580 The Game.
How about those Beavers? We're going to talk about them tonight. Southern Oregon Sports Talk. My name is Matt Bagley. I have a short, fun show for you tonight. I'm going to try to get 3 segments in during the next 30 minutes. I'm probably going to fail at that, but I'm going to try. So I'm going to throw a lot at you. We're going to talk about the Beavers. We're going to talk about Blazer basketball with a big game tonight. We're going to spend a couple of minutes on my Raiders, who are in the news today for reasons that they might not like. And I'm going to start the show with this. I'm pretty sure I do this every year on this day in history, February 22nd, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, and I know I'm going to do it next year and forever. Today is the anniversary of what I consider to be the greatest upset in sports history. I want to know if you can come up with anything that can top this. The Miracle on Ice, the 1980 United States Olympic hockey team, a bunch of college kids, a bunch of nobodies, amateurs, beating the best hockey team on the planet. Will that ever happen again? Has that ever happened in other realms? Has a team of the stature of amateur college kids from the East Coast ever matched up with professionals in any other walk of life and beat them in the biggest game of the world? I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. That's my first question tied into that. I also just want to know if you're old, or I'll be kind, if you're older, doesn't have that connotation to it, if you're older than me. I'm in my late 20s. I did not live to experience the Miracle on Ice. Every year I ask this question, and I'm curious for your answers. Leave me a text message, 541-630-4792. If you are older than me and you experienced the Miracle on Ice, what was it like? When you heard this, what happened next?
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Again, that's Al Michaels.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
What went through your mind? What rang through your ears? What did your eyes see? What happened next? You complete the story. You tell me what happened there. I believe it's the greatest upset in sports history, and I think it's something really amazing that we witnessed 40 years ago in this country. I want to hear from you. I believe the Miracle on Ice is unparalleled. Can you think of anything else in sports that you would put in that stature? Appalachian State beating Michigan. I'm sure I'm going to get somebody that mentions that one. A shocker in the college football world. UMBC beating Virginia. I'm sure that somebody might throw that one out there. 16 beating a 1 in college basketball. But I still feel the Miracle on Ice is the greatest upset ever in sports history. Because when UMBC beats Virginia and when Appalachian State beats Michigan, it's still college kids playing college kids. It's amateurs against amateurs. They are on a level playing field, even though we believed one team was not so level on paper. One team had better players. That's what we thought. What makes the Miracle on Ice different is that those American college kids were chugging beer and smoking cigarettes and partying and doing all the stuff that young college kids are going to do. And they had no professional hockey experience. It was supposed to be illegal for Olympians to be professionals at the time. And yet that team of unpaid, untrained amateurs beat a professional hockey team. Make no doubt about it. No mistake about it. The Soviet hockey team was loaded with professionals. Guys that were veterans, guys that had been playing for a dozen years. They were getting paid by the Red Army. That team was professional. That team was well-trained. That team had a decade's worth of chemistry. That team had the best coaching on the planet. And none of it mattered. On one day, February 22nd in 1980, I think it's the greatest upset ever in sports. Curious what you think, and I'm curious if you have any stories to tell tied into that. What was the experience like when you heard the news that the United States had defeated the Soviet Union in the Miracle on Ice? Leave me a text message. Share your thoughts with me. 541-630-4792. I promised I would talk about Beaver baseball tonight, and I'm going to do that right now. I will tell you this. This season is almost perfect for the Orange and Black. You have that blemish at the start of the year, opening game of the year. Kevin Abel gets the start, but his defense unable to hold in the mid to late innings, and the offense just couldn't quite burst through on that opening game. The rest of the year, boy, they've burst. That offense is clicking, and they are lighting up the scorebook right now, scoring just about 1 billion runs a game. I'll say this. It's early, and Oregon State hasn't played that tough of a schedule. They never really play a brutal gauntlet kind of schedule this time of the year. They always have a lot of mid-major teams or WAC teams from a smaller conference, a lesser conference. They tend to play a lot of teams like that this time of the year. But when their schedule heats up in the Pac-12, if their bats can stay hot like they are right now, and their pitching can do enough, and it is right now, I think this Oregon State team can get back to the heights we've expected of them year in, year out, and not only contend for a conference championship, but maybe something even greater. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. What do you think about the Beavers? What do you think about that baseball game that you might have heard today on these airwaves? What do you think about Oregon? They have pregame coverage, 99.5 FM, 880 AM, KCMX going on right now. Tip at 6, Oregon and USC. Are the Ducks going to vault up the Pac-12 standings tonight? Let me know what you think. Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW. We'll talk Oregon hoops, NFL. My Raiders are making headlines. We'll talk Blazers. And I want to talk about a very head-scratching decision made last night in the NBA. That's all coming up next. Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW, right here on The Game.
At MasterBrand, we don't just make cabinets. We offer opportunities to grow, to learn, and to make a difference. And you'll be recognized and rewarded for doing it. MasterBrand offers tremendous opportunities for you to grow in your career in a clean and safe work environment. And we treat our employees right. It's our culture to build opportunity, purpose, and reward into everything we do. Our employees are our most important asset. That's why you'll receive a comprehensive compensation and benefits package that includes excellent wages, medical, dental, vision, and more. Plus, we offer health and retirement savings plans and a stock purchase program to help secure financial protection and peace of mind. When you join MasterBrand, you're part of something bigger. We stay competitive and provide support to keep our employees and their families healthy, physically, emotionally, and financially. If you have a strong work ethic and think you'd be a good fit in MasterBrand's fast-paced manufacturing environment, we'd like to hear from you. If you are ready to begin making your dreams come true, apply today at masterbrand.com.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1 580 The Game.
We're going to do a little bit of a different format tonight because of the Beaver game. I have a bunch of topics, and I want to make the most of them. So I'm going to try to do smaller segments. Get you a lot of content in a short amount of time. Southern Oregon Sports Talk. One of those segments, I got to talk about what the Oregon men's basketball team is doing. I'm going to start this segment there. I'm seeing a tournament team. What are you seeing? 541-630-4792. You know that Colorado was tough. It's always tough when they play the Ducks. Oregon beat them anyway. What impressed me was what they did Saturday against Utah, where the Utes tried to slow them down and throw a lot of zone defenses at them and force Oregon to hesitate, force Oregon awkwardly out of their comfort zone, and Oregon still found a way to win that game. I saw patient offense. If the first option wasn't there, they passed to the second guy. They moved the ball. More importantly, they moved the defense by moving the ball and passing patiently. And then in the second half, what I loved from Oregon in the clutch, in crunch time, and this is something that can separate this team and make them a real threat come tournament time. In the clutch of that game against Utah this weekend, the Ducks didn't hit a bunch of big shots. They didn't make miracles happen behind the three-point line or make incredible defensive plays that just left your jaw on the floor. But what Oregon did to win that game was simple. They rebounded. And that's a fundamental that I think people sleep on. We talk about all the stars in basketball, and you need a guy like last year. Oregon had Peyton Pritchard, who could get them a clutch bucket. The year before, Oregon had that great team with Kenny Wooten blocking everything out of the clouds. That's highlight reel stuff. That's impressive. That's fun. But rebounding wins games. And Oregon rebounded like mad in the second half against Utah. I think it was the reason why they won that game. The Utes had opportunities, but Oregon kept taking it right off the glass. I think this Oregon team can go deep in the tournament if they play the way they did this weekend. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. Talking college hoops, how about pro hoops? Blazers and Suns tonight. I want to know what you think is going to happen. What do you want to watch tonight? What are you expecting tonight? See, I see a Portland team that is getting a lot out of their stars right now. Or I should say, singular star, Damian Lillard. But I also see a Blazers team that is figuring out a new formula. In years past, it was a three-headed monster. It was Dame and CJ and Nurk. And if those three didn't bring it, the Blazers were bringing home a loss. This season feels different, where you have Damian Lillard as the lead guy, unquestioned, like he's always been, but he doesn't have two other players alongside him that can take over. What he has instead are maybe 9 or 10 guys that just do enough of everything else. It always felt like with the Blazers, there was this gulf in talent where you have that big three, and then you have a bunch of guys that would be on the bench for most other NBA teams. This feels different to me. Anthony Simons as Damian Lillard's backup point guard, lighting it up in big moments. Carmelo Anthony coming off the bench, lighting it up in big moments. And of course, the guys on defense, your Derek Jones Jr., your Harry Giles III. The Blazers have a certain depth right now. And I didn't even expect them to have this depth this season. I was making fun of this a month ago. But they have a depth right now that I think makes them very dangerous. And so I expect this team to do pretty well tonight. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. Now let's talk about my favorite team. I always warn you when Matt Bagley is going to jump off the deep end and talk a little silver and black. The Raiders are in the headlines, and I don't know what their fans might think about it. I think that the headline today is that Vegas is pursuing an extension for their starting quarterback, Derek Carr. And there are really two schools of thought here. There are those of us who have defended Derek Carr religiously. Over the years, I've compared him to a prodigal son who can do no wrong. I've said that he's like a family member that I just can't see a flaw in. I love them unconditionally. No matter what they do, no matter how they screw up, I'm there for them. I'm in that camp. And then there are other fans out there who feel like Derek Carr is an impediment to the Las Vegas Raiders winning a championship. I want to hear from you. When you hear that the Raiders are close to an extension with Derek Carr, how do you feel about it? What do you think about it? What school of thought do you have? What camp are you in? Let me know. 541-630-4792. And I'd love to hear from fans, but I'd also just love to hear from people that aren't a Raider fan. You know, you're Niner fan out there. You're Seahawk fan out there. When you hear that Derek Carr is off of the quarterback market because the Raiders are nearing an extension for him, do you think, wow, the Raiders overpaid for Derek Carr? Do you think, wow, the Raiders made a mistake for Derek Carr? Or are you thinking to yourself, hey, I wish my team could have had Derek Carr? I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a text message, 541-630-4792. I'll share my thoughts next, Southern Oregon Sports Talk, and I'll wrap the show on these notes. The Lakers have lost 2 straight. Is it time to panic? Oregon basketball will jump back in on the green and yellow. I think they're a tournament team. What should we expect? What kind of projection seems fair for this team? I'll share my thoughts there. And the Blazers are climbing up power rankings. I've got thoughts on that too. Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW, 96.1, 580, The Game.
We are here with Kevin Craven, founder of Craven Financial Solutions. It's tax season again. Tell us about your tax services.
We can do anything the major tax chains can do. We just care more, listen well, and do it better.
Even refund advances and business returns?
Absolutely.
Is your team ready?
We've taken lots of classes, and we're ready for in-person and online secure contactless filing.
Visit CravenFinancialSolutions.com. They're right here in Medford. Call 541-227-3093.
Your treasure awaits at Pickers Paradise.
Pickers Paradise has something you sports lovers want. Whether you're looking for sports memorabilia items like autographed sports cards or one-of-a-kind signed jerseys and pictures, Pickers Paradise is your go-to for all things sports. Check out their items on their Facebook page or website at PickersParadiseLLC.com. Holidays are coming up, and if your loved one is a fanatic, look no further than Pickers Paradise on South Pacific Highway heading into Phoenix. Just look for Picker Bill on the big yellow sign.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1 580 The Game.
I've got 5 more minutes, and then I'm going to wrap the show for the night. It's a short show, but it's a fun show. Southern Oregon Sports Talk. I asked a question at the end of my last segment. When you hear the news that the starting quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders, Derek Carr, is about to sign an extension, and that he will not be an available quarterback on the market this summer, what do you think about it? 541-630-4792. I wish I could take live calls, but I'll always take a text, or if you leave me a voicemail, I can play that too if I listen back to it first. Southern Oregon Sports Talk. I'll just share my thoughts first. I think it's good for the Raiders. And I've said before, Derek Carr is not the problem, in my opinion. Derek Carr is not a top 6 quarterback in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, I have to put Tom Brady in there, just won a title. I have to put Aaron Rodgers in there, got his team to the conference championship game in back-to-back years. That makes 4. Number 5, in my opinion, and this is an unpopular one, I have Lamar Jackson. And number 6, again, unpopular opinion, I have Josh Allen. Those are my 6 at the top of the NFL profession. And then Derek Carr is in the next 6. Derek Carr is in the next 6. That top 6, if I take a trip through time and I fast forward to the next Super Bowl and you tell me that one of those 6 quarterbacks is in that Super Bowl, I have no surprise. They are the 6 best quarterbacks in football, and they can will their team to a championship. We've seen it. We know it. The next 6, I think, are really good quarterbacks. They need a lot of help around them. Look at Justin Herbert in L.A. He's great. His teammates aren't. And the Chargers were never in the playoff conversation this year. Look at Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. He's good. He's been better. He's on the downside of his career. But he didn't cost the Steelers that playoff game this year. Their defense gave up a bunch of crazy runs, and their receivers couldn't catch. Their coaching was abysmal in the second half. There's a lot of reasons. You need a perfect team for that next 6 to reach a Super Bowl. Derek Carr is in that next 6, and there's nothing wrong with it. He's a good quarterback. He just needs a good offensive line. He needs good wide receivers. He needs good play calling, and he needs a good defense on the other side of the ball. And right now, the Raiders really can't say they have that. They have an aging offensive line, and you have players on that line that I don't think contributed their fair share this year, like Trent Brown at right tackle. He's probably going to walk and play for somebody else. Good luck with that. Mercurial. He plays when he wants to. You have a play-calling department led by John Gruden that leaves a lot to be desired. I'll say it. I feel like John Gruden is too conservative. I've said that before. And you have a defense that is one of the worst in football over the past 10 years. By any measure, one of the worst in football. I don't see how Derek Carr is the fault for the problems in Las Vegas. I feel like if they are actually extending him, if that headline proves to be true, they are making the right decision here. And I'm curious what you think. 541-630-4792. One more minute. Let's talk hoops. Oregon basketball. I think I'm seeing a tournament team. And I said this last segment. What impressed me about the Ducks is that Dana Altman has a tried and true formula. Tried and true formula. If you look at the successful Oregon basketball teams under his tenure, they play really aggressive defense, they force a lot of turnovers, and that sparks their offense with transition buckets, fast break opportunities. That's how Dana Altman likes his teams to play. And yet Saturday, I didn't see that from Oregon. I saw something that I rarely see from Oregon, and something that I think makes them really special and a serious threat come tournament time. I saw an Oregon team that didn't have those opportunities, didn't have that transition chance against Utah. And it's not because they couldn't get it, it's just because Utah wouldn't give it to them. The Utes played patient. The Utes slowed their game way down. And defensively, Utah packed the paint and played zone and forced the Ducks to play patient. They couldn't run. They couldn't fly. They had to walk, and they had to make it work. And I thought Oregon did that. I think that's really special. That versatility can go a long way. More tomorrow, 4 o'clock, right here.